think it turns out I was like one of the only people they interviewed that actually worked at the store.
Well,
Really?
Mm-hmm. So they had gotten the rights to the Bend store, and
What is the Bend called?
Bend, Oregon.
Oh.
So they expected Alaska to last longer than it did.
That's it. The last one.
So the secret is he owned.
I remember Matt Winfield. Right? Yeah. That's so awesome, dude! I didn't know you were in that.
So it's
JC, that's awesome.
it's cool. And then so the dirty secret is that the guy who owns the last Blockbuster is like a landlord and owns tons of like buildings and stuff. And so Blockbuster, they only need to make enough money to pay the employees and pay for the DVDs. He's basically, because they don't have to pay rent, they don't have to pay any of the big fees. So that's how he's able to keep it open. And now it's like a kitschy novelty kind of thing.
A nationwide novels is popular. Like, well, like the Paul Bunyan on the sculpture on the side of the road, and the dinosaurs
Yes.
on the side of the highway. Yeah.
So
a kitsch, wonderful Americana moment.
the other thing is that because Blockbuster is done and the central computer's gone,
Yeah.
they still are using the same systems from when Blockbuster opened up.
Wow.
So like it's still like this text-based, DOS-based kind of system.
I love it. I know those.
What's crazy, so hopefully it makes it in the documentary. I talk about how you used to have to punch in your number anytime you sat at the computer. And it was a long number. And I was like, I still remember all of my Blockbuster numbers because I would have to go in and type in 21704302873 every day, thousands of times.
Thousands of times. Oh my God, that's
So
amazing.
it's in my head, it's burned into my skull from 20 years ago. Oh,
Yes. Oh my God, that's funny. That tweet is funny. You better start this live stream right now. You guys, that is funny. Did you see what Justin tweeted today? Was that Hannah or was that you? Dude, that's 100% funny. That is 100% funny. Okay. I'm telling you, we're live now. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the OneRing.net. This is guaranteed funny because I didn't put this on Twitter. Sometimes when there are special events going on, or when I'm putting out a 23-piece thread, a Twitter thread about young Aragorn or something that I'm doing, you can tell it's me. Usually you can tell when it's my voice or my comments. Like, is that black cherry? Is that the black cherry soda that you guys are so fond of? May I? Yes, please, and thank you. I've never tried that before. Wait a minute. You're watching the OneRing.net, and before we get lost in the unique pleasures of black cherry soda, here at Scum and Villainy Cantina, we're broadcasting live here at Hollywood and Cahuenga in the heart of Hollywood, California, where movies and magic and television and mischief. Thank you, Tony.
It's really
Tony
black cherry. I promise it's really black cherry.
This is unbelievable how funny this is. This time, you can realize
Why
this
are you laughing, Cliff?
because the tweet was not mine, and I genuinely wish I had come up with this. I'm giving Justin full credit. Here's the joke that he put out on our Twitter feed a little while ago. We will be addressing the country live tonight from the borders of Buckland. Torn Tuesday with Quick Beam 2000. That's me, live at 5 o'clock. Oh my gosh, that is funny.
Here at Scum and Villainy.
You are funny. Here
Scum
at
and Villainy is on the borders of Buckland. Buckleberry Ferry is right across the street.
Buckleberry Ferry.
Buckleberry Ferry at the corner of Cahuenga and Hollywood Boulevard. The stars of the Walk of Fame right behind us. In fact, 1 block away is where that Miranda dude put his star on the Walk of Fame. Manny?
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Is that it? Yeah, that's the name I couldn't remember.
Dude, the Tony-winning wonderkind of Broadway, Lin-Manuel Miranda, who did the songs for Disney's Moana, not to mention his Tony-winning In the Heights, excuse me. I love that. In the Heights is a great show. And then there's another one that had something to do with some great American president and forefather. You know,
let me ask you
this. Can't remember the name of that show, but
Mary Poppins.
Lin-Manuel Miranda. You know who stars on the bloody Walk of Fame right outside this very door? Sid Grauman has his star on the Walk of Fame right outside the door.
We're right outside the world famous Grauman. Hey,
because
Cliff,
Grauman's Chinese Theater is right down the road.
I've been meaning to ask you, Cliff.
Thank you. Yes, meaning to ask me.
Should the Lord of the Rings Amazon TV series include musical numbers?
That's good.
And if those musical numbers do exist, should Lin-Manuel Miranda be involved in the authoring
the Beatles
of new...
No. Get Paul McCartney?
No, I'm being serious.
I'm being very serious because the Beatles almost did their own Lord of the Rings movie starring the 4 of them.
They already have a Netflix show called Beat Bugs. Like
I want to see Ringo and Paul McCartney get together and do some songs.
You're not taking me serious.
For the Lord of the Rings world.
He's not taking me serious.
I'm taking it very seriously.
I want to see in the chat room, would you be on board with Lin-Manuel Miranda writing new Middle-earth songs for the Lord of the Rings series? Or is that a disconnect from where we want the show to go? Because
the last time they did a Lord of the Rings musical, it didn't fare that well.
It doesn't have to be musical. There were songs in the first Hobbit movie. Were there?
There are songs. Well, Middle-earth and the Lord of the Rings is filled with songs. There are many songs. And of course, Peter knew that. Peter had a very emotive, powerful moment where Billy Boyd sings a cappella during Denethor's Last Supper.
And Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens have writing credit on the Oscar-winning songs in the credits of Lord of the Rings. They actually, the writers of the movie wrote songs for the movie that are not on the page.
Molly says, Lynn, maybe. If Howard was with him, yes. Okay? As in Howard Shore, all right? And I'm like, about Sir Paul McCartney.
You know Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote Jabba Flow for Force Awakens.
Jabba Flow?
Hold on.
So Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote Jabba Flow, which is the song that plays in the cantina in The Force Awakens.
And we're here in the cantina right now. So this place,
I didn't know that.
By connection, has a Lin-Manuel Miranda connection. You can come and sit at the bar and talk with us, just like JC, the proprietor of Scum and Villainy. That's amazing.
When Finn, Ray, and Harrison Ford go in and they meet Maz, and Maz does this incredible, great introduction of her own character by shouting at Han Solo across the entire bar. That's fun. I love that moment. I didn't know that song was a Lin-Manuel Miranda song.
So Cliff, there's a lot of singing.
But I love that moment.
Every single Lord of the Rings movie had a song in it except for Battle of the Five Armies.
Except for its end credits song. That would be true.
No, but in the context of the movie, remember Aragorn sings at his coronation. In Two Towers, Aragorn sings for his beloved Arwen, you know, when he's thinking about her. In An Unexpected Journey,
No, he doesn't sing in the Two
dwarves.
Towers. Aragorn does not sing in the Two
Doesn't he?
Towers. Nope.
They're-
The person who sings in the Two Towers is Gollum. Smeagol.
Oh,
Actually,
he does sing.
Smeagol is singing a very happy song. Smeagol is the one singing in the Two Towers.
So there are songs, without being a
Yes.
musical, there are songs in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So I'm asking, should songs be in the TV show?
In the Two Towers Extended Edition, the Hobbit drinking song, they're partying in Rohan. The
Oh,
big
yeah.
after party?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're
yeah.
dancing on the
They're
table,
dancing at the table,
and the
there's
hobbits are singing?
The cameo of Howard Shore in
Yep.
that scene, yes. Okay, so yes, I would be very, very welcome, and there should be poetry and songs and songcraft in the new Amazon TV series. Yes, tenfold, absolutely.
Everybody
100%.
in the chat room, it's great
Yes.
to see everybody. We see
Yes.
Rolanda and Pete and Molly and Kaylin and Jill, John Dutton, Molly, Omar Rodriguez. Hi.
Hello, Omar. Good to have yes.
Everyone's commenting on the end credit singing, bringing back Enya and Billy Boyd, and I'm talking about in universe, in the context
of the show.
of the show.
In universe.
There should be singing. Are we agreed
Yes.
on that?
Yes, we are. Because
Not
even
every episode, by the way. Only when warranted.
like it's used sparingly, even in the Fellowship of the Ring, in the extended edition, where they're sleeping by the campfire.
Eowyn
and
sings.
Aragorn,
That's right.
Yeah,
Eowyn
sings very
in Two
powerfully.
Towers.
Forgive me, that is also true. In the extended edition, she sings at the funeral and also in the theatrical version, I believe. But remember that bit in the campfire when Frodo wakes up and Aragorn is singing about Luthien?
Yes.
Luthien.
Yeah.
Beren and Luthien.
Beren and
Yeah,
Luthien.
and it's really awesome. I just love that stuff.
So we're
I love that
basically
stuff.
we're all in agreement that there needs to be songs, and let's acknowledge that the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies included songs that Tolkien had not written.
Let's also
they
say
were
that-
written out of whole cloth
Yes.
by the writers.
Arguably the best parts of the Hobbit films, the first film, An Unexpected Journey,
Is the songs.
is the dwarves singing
man.
in Bag End.
That's what I wanted the ending of Battle of Five Armies to include, a song. Like
Actually,
bookend
why-
the Hobbit trilogy
Why
with songs.
they should have bookended that song, the dwarves singing again, over Thorin's funeral. But you know what? Thorin's funeral was cut. It wasn't even in the theatrical version, but they should have used Far o'er the misty
I would have
mountains
cried.
cold.
I would have cried.
That would have been so emotional to hear Thorin's own voice singing over his own funeral with the dwarves singing with him. That would have been so powerful.
So everybody's joining the chat from all the different platforms. We're live from Scum and Villainy in Hollywood, and we're live on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and the headline.
A lot.
The headline says it all, and we're going to talk about it. Amazon is threatening to leave New Zealand. I've been preparing for this for months. I've been hearing whispers since before San Diego Comic-Con in July that Amazon is kind of trying to strong arm the New Zealand government
Yes.
for tax breaks, for union breaks,
Yep.
for everything advantageous that Amazon can do to recoup its money
What-
before you've even seen it.
What did James Cameron do with the New Zealand government in this regard when he started bringing his new Avatar films and continues to keep his productions there?
Well, that's the thing about Avatar.
What's-
It doesn't really need
if-
to, it doesn't shoot on anything. It shoots on a green screen. James Cameron could have used downtown LA like Jon Favreau does. For
like
all
Jon
of the-
Favreau did for The
Yep.
Jungle Book. Okay.
And all the other. And The Lion King was shot in downtown LA. If
Oh,
you
for
believe
heaven's
it.
sake.
Right.
Really?
So
Wow.
These Avatar movies and these Disney Lion King remakes are all CGI. I'm saying that one of the reasons The Hobbit is less than Lord of the Rings is because they relied too much on CGI. You need the natural mountains. We want helicopter shots of
Oh my God, I
snowy
remember
mountains.
Ian Holm telling Gandalf, I want to see mountains, Gandalf. We want to see that too. The reason why that dialogue is so resonant with us as fans and continues to be all these years later is because Bilbo is speaking for us.
That's right. We are Bilbo.
Bilbo, and so when Bilbo runs out of his gate and says, I'm going on an adventure, we're there with him.
We're going on the adventure.
We are. What is it called in he's the entryway for the audience. He's us.
Yeah, he's us.
He's the vessel for us to
Enzi
experience that.
asks, didn't New Zealand already get screwed by the Hobbit production and
Yes.
change a bunch of laws? Why does Amazon think they need more breaks? Here's the thing. Let's
Well,
catch
that's why
you
I was
up on
tying
everything.
into that. Hello, Ellen. Good to see you. I was going to say, aren't there already existing deals in place?
They expire this year. So that's the thing.
Oh, okay.
All
okay.
Of, you've seen the YouTube videos from Lindsay Ellis, I believe.
Yeah, Lindsay Ellis.
We should get her on the show and talk more about this because
you're still invited. You still have a standing invite, Lindsay. We would love to have you on the show anytime.
So basically, the New Zealand government did change laws before Hobbit production began, and in fact, New Zealand
to prevent them from unionizing.
The actors.
To prevent the actors, yes.
And in fact, we heard from some of the stunt performers here on the show have told us that the stunt performers on The Hobbit actually make more in residuals than the beloved dwarf actors that were the leads.
Isn't that a kick in the pants?
So New Zealand, those New Zealand laws passed for The Hobbit expire this year, and this year Amazon has to be in production on Lord of the Rings. It's in the contract.
Do you realize that the clock is ticking, people?
The clock is ticking. If New Zealand, basically Amazon, part of the thing Amazon is saying is like, if you do not renew these anti-union laws, we're walking.
That means they're going to start looking at other locations where they've
Romania
and Iceland, where they've already established Game of Thrones and other shows shoot their footage there to achieve that high fantasy, otherworldly New Zealand type of
Liv Tyler sings
quality.
in The Return of the King as well, in the Houses of Healing. There's so much singing in Lord of the Rings. Anyway, we'll come back to that.
There's a song in the Houses of Healing, but it's not Liv Tyler who is singing. Isn't it the vocalist in the Houses of Healing, Elizabeth Fraser from Cocteau Twins, who has another a very important vocal during Gandalf's lament, the lament for Gandalf, which we hear in Lothlorien, and in the extended edition, Legolas is walking around responding to the song, and he says, "It's a song for Gandalf, for Mithrandir." And in that background is legendary vocalist from the band Cocteau Twins, indie favorite from the 4 AD label, Cocteau Twins. It's Elizabeth Fraser. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is that not the vocalist in the Houses of Healing sequence? Or am I daft?
You guys are on Google. We are on the air, so we'll leave that to you in the chat room to confirm that. Hey, Michael Salinger, Slininger.
Say that 10 times fast. Michael Slininger. Boom.
Says, quote, "People don't seem to understand that with The Hobbit, Peter didn't have very much time to prep for it as he did with Lord of the Rings.
True.
That was a main reason for all the CGI. Guarantee if he had more prep time in The Hobbit, it would have been so much better." So let me shoot that down just overall real quick.
Okay, I'm sorry. Molly and Jill, you're right. It is Liv Tyler. My mistake. It is Liv Tyler, unless my brain has checked out. But
there you go.
Okay.
So everyone, that's the default argument. Everyone says that Hobbit would have been better if he had more time. Well, let me tell you just a fact about television production. TV moves faster than movies ever do.
Even less time.
Even if they take a year and a half in between seasons, kind of like Game of Thrones is doing right now, TV moves so much quicker. So if you're going to say that The Hobbit wasn't as good because he didn't have as much time, well, if they rely on the same techniques for the TV show, we're going to get even lesser quality. So what we're saying is hire the best cinematographers, nature cinematographers. You know what? Go to National Geographic and say, send us your best. Send us the people that know the landscape from National Geographic.
Great idea.
Give them a helicopter pilot and an 8K camera.
Have you ever stepped into one of those high-def National Geographic art studios?
Amazing.
It's breathtaking. They offer, National Geographic has at select galleries around the country, it's a high-def lithograph, print litho art gallery experience where you pay top dollar for these unbelievable mega terabyte high resolution prints of their most stunning wildlife and wilderness photography from Nat Geo. And they are wall size, sofa size, to the tune of like $24,000 a piece. They're amazing.
Hey,
they're amazing.
Scuffed World Order on YouTube says, "I don't know about that, guys. PJ loves CGI regardless." Well, let's hit that right on the head. First off, Peter Jackson is not currently involved in the TV series. He's helping them find the creative visionaries to take it from here, but he does not necessarily want to lead it. Secondly, I have just seen Peter Jackson's amazing World War I documentary, They Shall Not Grow Old.
Yeah, that is an amazing documentary.
All original footage, film footage.
Yes.
Peter still got it. Peter Jackson's latest film from the World War I archives using real footage of real soldiers on the battlefield from 1913 is the highest grossing Fathom event of all time. It is the most successful, non-political documentary ever released. In fact, it is getting a wide release this Friday. It'll be in 25 markets around the country. And next month, February 13th, or February 11th, I think, it's going to go wider. So Peter Jackson's best work since Lord of the Rings is coming to theaters this Friday, and it's called They Shall Not Grow Old. That proves that he is not obsessed with CGI. He did not change any of the backgrounds.
Hold on.
CGI.
It is the talent of his CGI artists that are being applauded for They Shall Not Grow Old, because it is their artistry that has restored the film.
And the story that he decided to tell. They restored 100 hours of footage, and it's only a 2-hour movie.
In this case, Peter's obsession with CGI turned out to be of great benefit. The beneficiary is the film itself. And they did amazing sound design, dude, to make it sound like the explosions and the sounds of battle and war and equipment and the tanks and the cannons. All this technical work that they did to make this old footage seem like it was real and current and right in your face.
Well, it was stunning. Real, but yeah, to make it look that current.
But I mean more immediately.
Back to the New Zealand issue. Enzi says, I'm concerned about that. I think people can take different views on unions. Of course, we all have our own opinions on unions. But do not pressure countries at the country level. And 2, do right by workers.
I agree with that 100% too.
Yes. John Dutton on Twitter says, do we see southern Middle Earth? Does Amazon go to Middle East Africa? We were just talking about the different makeup and inspirations of a lot of the characters that Tolkien took in Lord of the Rings. And, people think Africa's south, so everything in Middle Earth, everything darker in Middle Earth might be south. It's no, actually, the northern lands might have darker-skinned elves. There's nothing saying that every elf has to be blonde-haired, blue-eyed.
No, but the conceit of geography in Arda, the planet Arda, and I'm glad you asked about this, John, is that the overlay of the map has center stage over the Eurocentric Middle Earth part, which is the Euro area, and then the map extends down to what would be the far Harad and the Haradwaith and the desert areas, which almost seems to suggest the deserts of the Middle East and Egypt and Northern Africa down in the Haradwaith. So it seems like there's a Northern Hemisphere type of overlay on that area of Arda.
And there's a whole line of research and more than opinions on the source of some of these characters in Middle Earth. But
we know the character, one of our main characters of great discussion, of great interest, young Aragorn, is well known in the appendices, and is part of these stories that he goes and has, under assumed names, under a secret identity, goes and has these adventures on behalf of the Gondorian interests and the interests of Rivendell, spying things out. And that's why he actually uses that dialogue, I have been to the far southern realms where the stars are strange. And that's a suggestion that Aragorn had gone to the southern hemisphere where the constellations of the night sky would have been different.
Yeah, there you go. Also,
right? So this young Aragorn character is quite potentially going to be our gateway to the storytellers and the producers,
that's why he is the
taking us to other locations in other nations.
It's the best character to open the TV show on. Also, one of the reasons that Aragorn was able to do that is because of his physical appearance, and it's a current line of thinking is that the character of Aragorn, the archetype of Aragorn,
Of Numenorian blood.
Of Numenorian blood is loosely based on Eastern Mediterranean archetypes. So if you think what a guy from
Atlantean archetypes.
So
like you guys need to think specifically Atlantis.
So
and
but think about Turkey. Think about Greece. Think about Turkey. Think about that whole Eastern Mediterranean. What does a guy look like from Turkey? Now apply that, and that's definitely not a blonde-haired Danish guy.
No.
We think that Aragorn could be played by a guy like Riz Ahmed or another actor of Middle Eastern descent that
absolutely
looks so multicultural. He can blend in those farther lands.
Any number of mixed ethnicity blended people, performers, can be brought in to the mix to provide us the prism of other places in Middle Earth and other nationalities that have not yet been presented on film in any adaptation. We have yet to see any of Numenorians ever. Any Numenorians.
The thing that excites me,
we have yet to see the great men of the Far East of Rune. We have seen the Easterlings. We have seen Weta Peter Jackson's designs, and Sir Richard Taylor and his team giving us designs of the Easterlings and the Haradrim, riding their Oliphants in the Battle of the Pelennor Fields. But we haven't seen a lot of other places. Then we get to what's in Lake Town, okay? Mm-hmm. In Desolation of Smaug and in Battle of the Five Armies, you see a whole crisscross of merchant and different nationalities of people who have been crisscrossing for purposes of trade and barter in the north. And there's all these different faces.
Lake Town is kind of like the Constantinople, the center of the Silk Road.
I would rather say it was
Alexandria.
No, I would say that it was more like if you want to say a crossroads, you might say maybe like Munich or Paris.
Or what was it more like a trade route? Like if we want to go to Star Wars again. Star Wars prequels were all about trade routes.
I like to think of Lake Town if it had developed over the lake over many, many centuries and had not been burnt down, it would have become like Paris of the North. It would have been like, a crossroads of people and trade and food and wine and stories and music, all built over a beautiful starlit lake. I think that Lake Town probably would have been a rather Parisian context as far as that kind of...
A bunch of people have just joined in the last couple minutes, and the headline kind of caught their eye. We're talking about New Zealand and Amazon are currently locked in crazy bitter negotiations to shoot or not shoot the Lord of the Rings series in New Zealand. This is not a small contract. The Lord of the Rings series is the most expensive, biggest budgeted TV series in history, guaranteed 5 seasons, guaranteed $1 billion budget minimum.
Well, that budget is 1/2 licensing, $500
million. A quarter licensing.
Yeah. And
$250 of that billion went to the Tolkien estate.
Oh my gosh, what a price tag. And then the rest of it for production. Now, the reason why we're starting to, and can I say this speaking for myself? Mm-hmm. Or can I say this speaking on behalf of the entire Lord of the Rings community worldwide? We're starting to raise our eyebrows and maybe sweat a little bit because it is getting late. What is the Gandalf line? Or the Saruman line?
Late is the hour.
The Saruman line, late is the hour. Okay, that's Christopher Lee saying, late is the hour when Gandalf comes. And is that why you're not here, old friend? Right, or all that stuff? Okay, he is right. Justin is 100% right in pointing out the stakes are huge, the amount of money involved is huge. Amazon does have a 5-season commitment. They are down there with lobbyists and negotiators pressuring members of parliament to not do the labor unionizing laws, which I think is a shame.
And it's not just labor unions,
but
it's tax credits.
And
it's
the tax credits too.
Hey, Amazon's basically saying if we're going to spend $1 billion on production in this country, we want half of that money back in tax breaks.
The reason why we're starting to sweat, or the reason why
they just did that with New York City.
They are about to lose the 1-year countdown clock before they have to go into production, and they have gotten nowhere near yet making an announcement. We are waiting, as long as you guys know, we're waiting like you are. We are holding our breath in anticipation. I could say breathless anticipation, thank you. We still don't know who the showrunners will be or the actors that are rumored to be cast.
No casting yet, no rumors or anything.
No press release from the studio, and late as the hour, they need to start pushing this. They need to start making their moves, and the studio needs to start making announcements about what resources and people they're putting together because time's running out.
And here's the thing, is that the location that they shoot Lord of the Rings in, everything else falls into place after that. Peter Jackson and Weta may decide not to be involved if they decide to shoot somewhere else, not New Zealand.
Right.
The current budgets, from what I hear, Weta has submitted some budgets for effects work and pre-production work. But if they have to move everything to Romania, now Weta has to rebid everything because you have to actually ship all those costumes and ship all that chainmail and ship all those sets to. It's basically double or triple the cost now. So and the time of putting everything on a boat, on pallets, and reassembling it. So everything is in play. Once you got the location down, then you can book an actor, because an actor wants to know, hey, am I living in New Zealand for 3 years?
Away from my family?
Or am I going to Romania for 3 years? Because there's a different quality of life. As you remember, when Guillermo del Toro signed up for The Hobbit, he moved his whole family to New Zealand for 3 years. This is a commitment, a family commitment. This is not just like, hey, we're going to go shoot a movie for 3 months. TV shows, you stay put for a long time.
Boy, howdy.
So it's more than just union issues. It's more than just tax breaks.
Yes.
Every other consideration on the production is dependent on where they shoot this.
Acknowledgement to Molly and to Roland's. Yes, we have seen the fan films Born of Hope and The Hunt for Gollum, and they're really,
Those are on
good.
YouTube.
Good stuff.
You can buy them on YouTube and
watch them for
Vimeo
free.
And other
yes,
stuff.
Yes, you can. Eric, is it safe to assume that this new Amazon series will be about earlier ages? Yes. Yes, from what we know.
No.
Yes.
It's still the third age between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Flashbacks that could be covered in the material could go as far back to the existence of the Númenórean kingdoms and the downfall of Númenor.
But the main focus
It's
of
in
the
appendix.
show is the...
All right. Then let's answer this question in two ways. A, what they have available. B, what we know they have told us they're going to do. Okay? We're talking about both things at the same time. A, they do have access to all this stuff from earlier ages in the appendices.
Yeah.
So if you open up your back pages of Return of the King, anything that you read for yourself in Appendix A, B, C, D, E, F, L, M, N, O, P, that's available. However, what they've told us is the intention is to not redo the War of the Ring, but to go into all these events that are prior to setting the stage for the War of the Ring. It could be Second Age material, but their press release has said something close to, generations before the opening events that we see in Fellowship of the Ring. And I'm telling you, if you're going to go back into this stuff and pay for this license and not go to the Second Age and tell stuff about what happened and the elves being fooled by Sauron and the creation of the Rings of Power, if you're not even going to go that far back, even in isolated flashbacks, flashbacks,
just like the movies,
then you're not using the license that you paid for.
But the main...
You paid for it, Amazon. Use it.
The main story is about a young Aragorn.
Well, that's the first season.
The
first season.
David
we don't know if other seasons will differ.
David Alvarado says, in which book can I read more about young Aragorn?
The appendix in the back pages of The Return of the King.
You can also read more about young Aragorn in the same book and novelization where the Frodo and Sam end up in Osgiliath.
What? Yeah, there is no book in the Lord. There's no... Frodo and Sam never get dragged to Osgiliath. It doesn't happen. He's joking with you, okay? There's two places to look. If you want to learn more about the earlier tales of young Estelle, which was his name as a boy, Hope, then you look in Unfinished Tales. Get yourself a copy of Unfinished Tales by J.R.R. Tolkien, or grab your existing Lord of the Rings trilogy and take a look at the appendix, especially Appendix A, Annals of the Kings and Rulers. Good stuff.
Everybody in the chat room is saying Ian McKellen has expressed interest in coming back as Gandalf. Absolutely.
Yes, he has.
Ian McKellen is absolutely right when he says he looks the part. Gandalf doesn't age. He's the same age as he ever was because he's so old. So no matter what time frame this show is set in, we do not want sexy Jude Law Gandalf.
Are you trying to say that Rowling made a mistake with sexy Jude Law Dumbledore?
I'm just saying we don't want that in our Middle Earth.
Oh, wait. No, we don't want that in our Middle Earth. But you're throwing shade.
Go ahead.
This boy over here.
I thought you didn't like that movie.
This boy is throwing shade.
I just want to make sure that we as fans and the filmmakers and the studio acknowledge all of the things that fandom doesn't like about current movies.
All right. What they don't like is Johnny Depp. None of the fans of Rowling or Harry Potter universe had a problem with young Jude Law. What they have a problem with, and what they've been complaining about incessantly, is somebody else. But my problem with Crimes of Grindelwald was the script. And I lay that at your feet, Joanne K. Rowling. It was only the script that was really bumpy in the road.
Hey, Cliff, this is a great question.
Those emotional payoffs were not earned. Those were not earned. However, you know better, and I trust you. I'm not done. I trust you, Joanne. Next time, you'll pick yourself up and you'll dust yourself off and you'll start all over again, like that classic Disney song. So I think you'll do better next time. We love you, Joanne.
Will we have the opportunity to learn more about the Blue Wizards?
Yes, if the extent of the license will allow the Tolkien estate to branch out and let them say a little bit more.
The short answer is yes, the license does allow it. They've confirmed that the Tolkien estate is
stuff is not in the appendix. But this license that they paid for, it does not yet include the Silmarillion. It does not yet include Unfinished Tales. Not yet.
The narrative through lines of those books. But the Tolkien estate has said that they're involved in production, and if the production comes to them with an interesting way to bring in some of that outer world stuff, like the Blue Wizards, the Tolkien estate has said that they're open to including some of that in this license on a case-by-case basis. So the short answer is yes. We'll probably get some Blue Wizards. And won't that be a casting conundrum?
LOTR and Palando, the Blue Wizards. And their names are, since Gandalf cannot remember them, Clifford can. They are LOTR and Palando. We know almost nothing about them, but you can find some details in Unfinished Tales. You're welcome, Iravandi, for the earworm. You're very welcome.
This is a great
Molly,
question.
I'm so glad you're here with us
Cliff,
on the show.
Jesse wants to know, why do people insist that the new reboot include actors and locations from Jackson's Lord of the Rings? I want a fresh Lord of the Rings. I love the old Lord of the Rings movies, but let's move on.
Jesse, I really appreciate that fine point, but let's also consider that Amazon Studios paid a lot of money to have access to using all of the existing New Line Cinema footage from all 6 of Peter Jackson's Middle-earth films.
It is their intent to be in that universe.
And they also licensed footage that Peter shot and did not use. That means all unused footage from the 6 films. And
like when Frodo freaks out and looks like crazy Gollum, the flash forward of Gollum, and the scouring of the Shire, all that footage can be included.
All the footage and the designs and the weapons and the architecture, the elements of design of costumes and music from Howard Shore and everything from Weta that they designed, they've also licensed that. So it has been described to me as, look in the parking lot and there's 1, 2, 3 cars, and that's Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King. And those cars are parked next to each other, all in a row, and they look like the same car. And then there's Hobbit movies, Unexpected Journey, Desolation, and Battle of the 5 Armies. And those are 6 cars all parked in a row. that are Middle-earth, visually, thematically, musically, and content. They licensed all that so that when they park in the extension of this parking lot, 5 more new cars for 5 new seasons, and they want all these automobiles to look and feel with that fresh car smell. They want it to be Middle-earth, all the same automobiles in a row. That's the metaphor I'm using, sorry. But that's what they want. I want them to show some fresh faces and fresh places. We all would like to have a fresh start, but the intention is to use the old stuff and make everybody feel like they're coming back into a warm and familiar place. You like a Middle-earth? Come hang out with us over here at Amazon Prime. Here, pay your subscription, and you can come back to Middle-earth and come hang out with us and all the wonderful dwarves and elves and hobbits that you love. You come hang out with us. You pay the price, you can come hang with us. That's the deal that Amazon is presenting, right?
Jesse Jackson in the chat room says Charles Dance would be a perfect Saruman. I'm sorry, I am drawing a blank on the actor Charles Dance. I tell you who would actually make a great Saruman. Feel free to almost punch me.
Okay, as we often do.
If we're going to do a new Saruman, I want on the short list of candidates Sam Elliott.
Yes! I will never punch you. I'll hug you. Oh, yes. Whoa! That's so cool. I mean, Sam Elliott got cast in The Golden Compass along with Ian McKellen, so it can happen.
He just narrated the Golden Globes tribute.
Yes. Oh, my God. Here. Cheers to Sam Elliott. Because you know what? That's a very, very tough place to be, to replace
and he can
Christopher
go
Lee.
Good and bad. Sam can go good and bad.
Sam
you
Elliott.
Don't know where
Wow, I really like that idea.
And here's the thing is
I like that idea
all the way up
I like
into
that.
Fellowship, Gandalf thinks that Saruman is on the good guy's side.
He is on the good guy's side.
That's why it's so shocking when...
Up to a point, but he's keeping his own secret plans in his own mind.
Right. So that's why I think a guy like Sam Elliott who can go... You don't know if he's good or bad this episode.
I'm digging that idea. I'm really digging that idea. Okay. And yes, thank you guys. Yeah, we know Charles Dance. You're a Game of Thrones fan or not?
Tywin Lannister?
Yeah, Charles Dance is an excellent choice. He's really, really awesome.
Let me think about that.
But
I don't think he has the voice for it.
You know what? I think Sam Elliott has the voice.
Tyrion?
The most important
Tywin
thing
Lannister.
is the voice. The voice of Saruman. He gets his own bloody chapter named after that aspect. And it's really difficult. I don't know who, as far as an actor, could ever walk into those shoes. Okay.
Well, here, I can't see a Lannister as Saruman.
The cowboy element, just because Sam Elliott is traditionally an American actor who speaks with his own American dialect, that doesn't mean that he could not have a really wonderful dialect coach, like they did Leith McPherson.
Right, well,
our friend Leith McPherson, who was, dialogue coach for the Hobbit films. He could, you know what? You got an American boy like Elijah Wood and an American boy like Sean Astin to go and play British hobbits, and they landed it. It was great. Nothing wrong with those accents.
All right, well, if Sam Elliott is on the short list, then the other person I want on the short list for Saruman...
I do like Charles Dance, too, though. I like him a lot.
Who was the guy...
I'll admit.
Who is the bad guy in Die Hard with a Vengeance? Who is...
Who?
The actor. Who was...
IMDb. Someone get on IMDb and look this up for us, please. You're like...
Simon Says. Remember the voice?
All right.
It says Simon Says.
Okay. NZ says Charles Dance totally has the voice. Search out, and I will do this. Search out his reading ridiculous celebrity memoirs for Big Fat Quiz of the Year. Okay? I will look that up. That sounds fun.
All right, we'll look that up. So a lot of people are just joining us.
Brian Martin, I love you, Brian. That's my buddy Brian. He's an excellent friend. Roadhouse in Middle-earth. Come on, you guys. Come on.
If you're just joining us, because the stream keeps going, the headline says
Jeremy
Amazon.
Irons. Okay.
Jeremy Irons. That's who I was thinking of.
Jeremy Irons?
Yes. Right? Put him in a big beard?
As Saruman? Yes. Yeah, yes.
Right?
You know what? All right. All right. Since we're talking about the potential, that is another voice. Jeremy Irons and Sam Elliott both are the two actors who actually have what Christopher Lee had. It is that hyper distinct voice that is gravelly and powerful. Interesting to me. Good choices.
Let me ask you this.
Choices.
Would you, the fans, be open to doing what Star Wars is doing? Would Saruman still be played by a CGI'd version of the great Christopher Lee? I think he would be okay with it. I think his estate would be okay with it. And then you get a voice actor, a really good voice actor. I'm talking like Maurice LaMarche or Peter Serafinovich.
Wow.
To mimic Christopher Lee's voice. But I think the ultimate tribute to one of the greatest actors whose lifelong dream was to be forever in Lord of the Rings, keep him part of Lord of the Rings with a CGI recreation. They did that with Peter Cushing, his friend, Christopher Lee's personal friend, Peter Cushing.
Then why did Peter Jackson even bother to cast Martin Freeman? Why didn't he just do youth CGI on Ian Holm and do the whole thing that way?
Because we asked him to. Remember at Comic-Con we said there's only one person we want for young Bilbo.
We said Martin Freeman. We did. That's right.
We asked for it and we got it. We got what we wanted.
It was actually true. We were kind of responsible for that. Thank you.
Yeah. Michael Caine as Gandalf? No, not Michael Caine. No,
not Michael Caine as Gandalf. Michael Caine as
Tom Bombadil.
No, Michael Caine as the steward of Gondor before Denethor was. Denethor's father.
Oh,
Ecthelion. Wow. His name is Ecthelion, okay? Michael Caine
looks like
should
an Ecthelion.
I think Michael Caine would
That's
be
what
the
you're
best.
A Charles guy.
Michael Caine is going to be the Denethor's father, because Denethor,
the
son of
Lannister.
Ecthelion, I'm telling you.
The Charles guy, the Lannister.
Charles Dance?
Yeah.
Oh, you think Charles Dance would be the steward of Gondor? Okay, sure. Or Michael Caine. Both of them. Yeah, sure. That would be excellent. That's excellent. Yeah. Ooh, all right, Eric Z says, was James McAvoy part of early rumors for Bilbo? Yes, he was.
Yes, he was. He did audition.
Yes, he auditioned. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
But you know what? James McAvoy ended up in the other Inklings classic, The Chronicles of Narnia, and played the very famous Mr. Tumnus. The fawn. Yeah.
Someone asked, who do you cast as Sauron? Well, we already have our Sauron. His name is Benedict Cumberbatch. So they would be ill-conceived to cast anybody but Benedict Cumberbatch.
No. Benedict Cumberbatch. Okay, wait. I love you, Pipsquay. Kay Griffin, our dear girl, Pipsquay, says, guys, how about Michael Gambon as Saruman? And the answer is,
no.
Well, I don't think so, because Michael Gambon is so
identified as the other.
I just see him as that benevolent Dumbledore, and he had a hard job replacing Richard Harris, who is a legend. Richard Harris, man, and somebody had to walk into those shoes. Same dilemma. I think this is the analogy we're looking at. Richard Harris is such an icon, a cinema icon. When he left this mortal coil and left this world, Michael Gambon had the unenviable position, but he did it right, and he showed that he had the stuff. He had the stuff, and he brought Dumbledore to the most wonderful level. But now that Christopher Lee is gone, also an icon, like, the man from Camelot, King Arthur himself, you know? Gosh, it was imagine how interesting it would be for any actor to say, oh my gosh, I'm going to replace so-and-so. This is how Ewan McGregor felt when Lucas approached him about the prequels and said, you're going to be my younger version of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he's like, what? He's like, you want me to walk into the shoes of Sir Alec Guinness? Come on.
And
That's
he did it,
almost,
but
it's
he did
almost
it. He
too
was-
much to ask
He was,
any
the,
actor.
he was the best part of the prequels.
And he was the best part, and he was the best casting.
Yeah.
And he was Ewan McGregor. He is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we love him.
So the big news, if you're just
He's the
joining
best.
us, a bunch of people have just jumped in the chat room in the last few minutes, is that Amazon and the government of New Zealand are in heated debate because Amazon wants huge tax breaks. They want to maintain the current laws, which are very anti-union.
Hey.
And they basically want to
Hey.
say, hey, we're going to spend $1 billion on production. We want half of that back or more as tax incentives. Like, basically, we're going to spend $1 billion, but New Zealand government's going to give us 500 million of it back.
I hate to distract from this train of thought, but back to the chat room. Yes, Chris Reyes, Terrence Stamp, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes, brother, awesome
That's
as
a good one.
Saruman.
That's
And
a
to
good one.
Eric Z, yes, we have seen Split. I'm a huge fan of M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. I love Split. I'm so looking forward to Glass. You know what I did? My young friend, who's like a millennial, had never seen Unbreakable, and he was such a fan of Split. He's like, wow, this is amazing. But he didn't understand the last 6 minutes of the film. And I'm like, oh, you got to go watch this. And then he saw Unbreakable, and he's like, whoa, that is a slow burn of awesomeness, that movie. So here we
Someone
go.
said,
I'm so down for that.
Jessica Chastain is great. I just watched Zero Dark 30. I think she's awesome in it. I always see Jessica Chastain as Eowyn's mother.
As Eowyn's mother? Yes. Yeah, Jessica Chastain as Eowyn's mom.
She's a lady of Rohan.
But she's the sister of King Theoden.
She's a lady of Rohan.
Yep.
So
Wow.
think of all the
Wow.
stories that we can tell with a young Aragorn. Think of the young Theoden.
I'm sorry to say, Jesse Jackson, that John Hurt, who is my favorite actor of all time, has passed away. So he will not be joining the production. And also, Daniel Day-Lewis has retired. So he's not going to come on board anything, though. But
Yeah.
nice thinking. I'm telling you, we're going to fan speculate all that we want. But if they don't get into an agreement with the government and they don't get settlement with the labor unions and the actors unions, then there's a distinct possibility that they're going to go to where? I think Ireland, Iceland, which is where they filmed Game of Thrones. They have an existing, they have an infrastructure there.
So does
They've got
Scotland.
trucks, they've got crews.
Scotland has that too.
But why do you hear Romania? Are you hearing buzz about Romania as a filming place?
Romania is cheap for long-term productions.
Yeah.
The landscape is untouched.
Mhm.
It's just
Yeah. The landscape is full of landmines.
Right.
There are huge areas where they can't film because there's landmines everywhere.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing: is that one of the
Sorry,
reasons
it's an ugly
we
truth,
love
but-
Lord of the Rings, one of the reasons we fell in love with Lord of the Rings and then New Zealand, is because of New Zealand and the helicopter shots shot by the recently passed Jeff Murphy, who was one of New Zealand's top directors in the history of film in New Zealand. Jeff Murphy was a second unit guy on Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
But so when they needed a second unit, they got the best of the best. And so that's what we need out of this. We need someone that is the best of the best, that knows terrain, that knows how to shoot it beautifully, and knows what to shoot.
Yeah, indeed.
But how much of New Zealand is part of the Middle Earth aesthetic now? Like, we could tell the difference in The Hobbit.
It
like,
seems to be in the DNA of the visual versions of Middle Earth that we have enjoyed so much in these 6 films. And for a lot of you, it's just the first 3 films. I understand not everybody's on board with the Hobbit films, but I think there's some very useful energy and some useful storytelling in the Hobbit films, although it did have a lot of overbloated mess going on, I'll admit. But still, hey, you got to see Christopher Lee, Saruman is a good guy, and you got to see more Sylvester McCoy and some really great character work with Andy Serkis and the brilliance of Lee Pace as Thranduil. You got some really good stuff in there, even though, and you got dwarves singing in front of Bilbo's fireplace. So, you know, come on, you can complain all you want about the Hobbit films, but there was some good stuff in there. But yes, I appreciate you, Chris Reyes. Richard E. Grant as Saruman. That could also be brilliant. Yes, Brian Cox. Yeah, Brian Cox could do that role. Lots. Now, John, you're suggesting Hugo Weaving and Andy Serkis do not want to return. Really? Well, I didn't read that story yet. I wonder, is there a story somewhere that Andy Serkis said he's not going to come back? If he doesn't do it, then the technology exists and somebody else will do the motion capture and somebody else will do the performance. But, they're going to use they licensed the same CGI Gollum. They paid for that license. So even if Andy Serkis decides not to come back, boy, I don't know about that. They still have the digital skin of the character. They'll put that skin on any motion cap performance they want to do, right, Tony? I mean, that's obviously what they would do.
It sounds like Andy Serkis just doesn't think he'll be in there.
He doesn't think. Oh, yeah, he says, I don't think I'm going to be because they haven't asked me yet. But that's the same thing Ian McKellen said. He said, you know what? They haven't even bothered to ask me yet. Now, okay, everyone's now like, Michael Fassbender, okay? Michael Fassbender as Sauron. Yes, because if they do that part in the story, which I think is imperative, where they show Sauron in his fair form. So if he's going to do his Loki number and appear to be something nice, something that he's really not, and Sauron shows up as gorgeous movie star Michael Fassbender, he appears as Anatar, the giver of gifts, and he makes friends with Celebrimbor, the elf lord, teaches him the craft of ring making. So the ring making, all that stuff, and the creation of the rings of power, that's got to be in there, and I agree. Oh, well, I don't know if Michael Fassbender would cost too much. Brian, they've spent $1 billion on this license. They've spent so much money. Money is no object.
Money is no object
Money
for
is no
Lord of the
object.
Rings. This
Not
is a
for Lord of the
passion
Rings.
project for the richest man in the history of the world.
Jeff Bezos makes another $1 billion every couple of months.
During this
He
show,
doesn't care.
he just made another $1 billion.
Yeah, thank you. And he just sent out a bunch of drones who dropped some packages on my front door. It just happened.
It's 6 o'clock. We appreciate you guys for tuning in to our message from the borders of Buckland.
Oh, that's
Cliff.
so funny.
Yes.
Eric,
we are
Eric
live.
says, I really enjoyed An Unexpected Journey and Desolation of Smaug. I just felt that Five Armies felt too stretched out. It could have been 2 films. Yeah, a lot of us.
Like butter over too much bread.
So like not enough butter scraped over too much bread, darling. Yes.
That's right. Hey,
Yes.
guys. Cliff, I wanted to bring something up.
Yes.
For Christmas. By the way, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year.
Happy
I
Hanukkah.
Haven't seen you for
several
weeks.
weeks. You guys, for the past couple of weeks, when
You've been
available,
doing these more intimate shows.
I was doing a little bit of a small-scale show in my living room, and we were looking at all the books and board games in my library.
He has quite the collection, doesn't he?
And we had, Lord of the Rings extended version on the background, and we ended up talking and speculating a lot. What we didn't yet talk about this past weekend, seeing our own Viggo Mortensen up there at the Golden Globes, winning with the whole cast and crew for Green Book.
Of Green Book, which, fair warning, it won for Best Comedy. It's not a comedy, I promise you.
Why did it get nominated in that category as comedy?
Green Book is not a comedy.
It's not musical or comedy.
But it is an amazing film.
It's a drama.
Go support Viggo Mortensen, your one true king, and go watch Green Book because it is a great movie. He looked great, and if you go to our Twitter, at the One Ring Net on Twitter, you can see a little comment that we made. Someone captured a GIF from the Golden Globes of Adam Driver saying, "Someone get bored Adam Driver out of there before he actually turns into Kylo Ren." And
Yes.
as the camera pans around, you see Viggo Mortensen right over his shoulder,
Yeah.
don't worry, Viggo's got this.
Yeah, don't worry, he's being looked after by a ranger
A
of the
ranger
north.
is making sure that everyone stays in line at the Golden Globes. So that was really neat to see. And did you see who Viggo Mortensen walked the red carpet with? His son Henry. Henry Mortensen. You can find him.
Yes, he did.
On
Yes.
Twitter. If you look for Henry Mortensen, I think he's public. But the son of Aragorn, the son of Viggo Mortensen, the son that famously told his dad, "You have to take this role." We
Yep.
would not have Viggo as Aragorn without Henry. So they walked the red carpet together. They looked great together. Viggo is just one of the best actors out there. It would
Yes,
be,
he is.
you know,
Do you know when that movie was over? I didn't want it to be over. I wanted to spend more time with these characters. I wanted to spend more time with both of them.
and that's how I
really
felt.
didn't you feel that way?
But I felt that about Captain Fantastic. I wanted
Me
to.
too,
I wanted to
yes.
stay with Viggo's character and
Yeah.
Captain Fantastic and that whole family.
That was
So,
so good.
look,
So good.
There's a lot of stuff that's going to happen this year on the Lord of the Rings thing. But I wanted to take it back to.
Before you would take it back to that, I would say there's going to be a lot going on this year. You're right. But would you anticipate we're going to have some news soon?
Very soon. I think
We must have some news
as
soon.
soon as the contracts are signed with New Zealand and Weta, I think we'll get an announcement. Now, Cliff, I wanted to bring
Okay.
something else up.
Okay.
For Christmas, my family knows me very well, and they
Yes.
got me a Tolkien calendar. How many people in the chat
yeah.
room have received Tolkien calendars for Christmas? It is just so good. Whether it's the Brothers Hildebrandt, all the way to Alan Lee illustrations.
Yes.
So I got a calendar, and
How cute.
a couple other people in the chat room got calendars as well. And I said, hey, let me look up the date on the Tolkien calendar of J.R.R. Tolkien's birthday.
Yes. Which just passed.
And
just
it's
a few
not
days
on
ago.
the calendar.
You're kidding.
And I checked with other people that have Tolkien calendars for 2019, 2018. Tolkien's birthday is never listed on any of the Tolkien calendars. Now, you in the chat room, if you've got some old calendars of beautiful Tolkien Middle-earth art, please go see it. When is Tolkien's birthday?
January 3rd,
And what do we do as fans on January 3rd every year?
we toast to the professor.
And what happened this year here in LA?
They had a big gathering with all the Tolkien Society fans and friends.
At the newly renewed
Tolkien
Cat and
Forever
Fiddle.
group had met at the Cat and Fiddle, which traditionally had been on Sunset Boulevard and Schrader, where they had filmed Casablanca all those many decades ago. But now it's at a new location down on Highland and Melrose.
Yeah.
Yes, Cat and Fiddle Pub, which was filled to the brim that evening with lots of fans. I was
And at 9 o'clock,
unfortunately
they toast.
working late. I didn't make it.
But everyone toasts at 9 o'clock, correct?
They did. Toast to the professor at 9
So
o'clock. It was a
why
lovely thing.
wouldn't any of the Tolkien calendars include
Because
Tolkien's birthday?
Because the Tolkien calendars only have dates that are in world, in Middle-earth.
You're telling me that Tolkien is the type of guy that would put something significant
No.
in his own world.
The Tolkien calendars don't have dates relative to our world, like Christmas or President's Day or Thanksgiving. They don't. They have Middle-earth events in the Tolkien calendar. Like,
But
this is the date when Frodo left the Shire. This is the date when Frodo was attacked on Weathertop.
But
This is the date the ring was destroyed.
But Bilbo's birthday is the same date as Frodo's birthday, which is the same date.
That's on the calendar, of course. Bilbo and
but-
Frodo's birthday.
But why? But those the date of Bilbo's birthday, coincides with the date of publication of The Hobbit.
Isn't that funny?
So you're telling me that Tolkien wouldn't put his own birthday in the books and stories and tales somewhere?
Isn't that funny? Nope.
Huh.
But then again, maybe that's why Bilbo's birthday is on September 22nd, because that was the professor's way of acknowledging the publication date.
Scott Weir says, question
Hi, Scott.
asked last week about Amazon. Cliff, since they own the rights, is Amazon able to release the Unicorn Edition, or does that still fall under Peter Jackson's jurisdiction?
That's an excellent, excellent question. Boy, is that a really difficult, very, very difficult.
The short answer is,
Gosh, I wish I knew.
according to Michael Pellerin, Peter Jackson's intention was to save the Unicorn Edition for the 25th
The
anniversary.
25th anniversary.
The 25th anniversary which would make it 2001 plus 25 makes it 2026.
Yeah, and I guess we're 7 years
And-
away from that now.
And the license with Amazon will have expired by then if it is not renewed.
That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't make it, Jesse. Yeah, you know what? You're right.
Right?
I think we've got 7 more years to wait for that Unicorn Edition, so it might not even be affected by what's going on with
Tracy
the current,
Walker's
with the current
like,
license.
what is the Unicorn Edition? Well, if you go to our Facebook page and click on the highlighted video, you'll see a nice 2-hour interview with Michael Pellerin, the award-winning DVD creator, DVD producer, director of all the appendices
Yes.
on all the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit films.
Yeah.
And in that show, he explains what the Unicorn Edition is. And the best way to describe it is, he said, what if we told you today, 2019, January 2019, what if someone came out of the blue and said, here is a documentary on the making of Casablanca, made at the time that we made Casablanca, and someone just sat on all that footage, all the behind the scenes, all the everything about that iconic movie
Wow.
Casablanca. What
Yeah,
if
okay.
someone just came out of the blue and said, here it is, here's the making of documentary, you've never seen it like this before. That's what Peter Jackson's doing. Peter Jackson has made a Unicorn Edition of Lord of the Rings, an extended, extreme, ultra special edition.
He hasn't
cut
made it yet, but he wants to.
of
And he says
Lord
he
of the
knows.
Rings.
He says he's going to put it together.
He's
And
got all the notes. He's got everything.
He's
and
got all the shots that he shot but never edited in. He's got things he regretted cutting out, things that he thought maybe could have changed. And people are wondering, where are we ever going to see the bloopers, like the super
We're not just talking about
infamous
bloopers. We're talking
but
about the actual movie.
and that everything
Yeah.
too. We're talking about, but the Unicorn Edition would be the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy, all 6 of those films redone with much more. All the stuff they shot and didn't use.
And they shot 5 weeks with the original Aragorn, Stuart Townsend.
That'd be interesting
So
to see
we've
some of
never
that.
seen the footage of 5 weeks of critical Aragorn scenes. So there is a secret, super special extended edition
Yeah.
called the Unicorn Edition of
And
Lord of the Rings.
Look on our YouTube archives and look for that interview that we did with DVD a producer and award-winning documentary director Michael Pellerin, because he's the guy who did the extra 2 discs that you had in the back of every extended edition with the 9 hours of extra behind-the-scenes material. And yeah, so more behind the scenes. Imagine the behind-the-scenes stuff, but imagine other things that were cut and narratively added into the film.
Yeah. So Cliff,
Imagine.
back to this whole
Just
thing.
imagine.
Like I really got stuck on this idea of the calendars of Middle Earth
Hold on.
that everyone owns.
Scott, if Amazon wanted to do it, they could, though.
No,
No,
not
because
right. No.
their license is to make new stuff.
Yeah.
They're not interested in digging into just
I mean, they have the-
repackaged
yeah.
the old stuff. If they dig into the old stuff, it's going to be because they're going to utilize it for their new show. So yeah. Anyways, yes.
So Cliff,
At
I want to
least that's
say
what we
back
understand.
to the calendar thing.
The
I
calendars.
think the calendar, including J.R.R. Tolkien's birthday on calendars, which have been super popular since
Always.
forever.
Yes.
Why do you think there is going to be a trend coming up here in 2019 that more respect is given to the author himself, not just the world of Middle Earth and not just the stories, but
Okay.
do you think J.R.R. Tolkien, we will learn more about him, we will celebrate more things about him and have a greater appreciation,
Yes.
and might
Yes.
future calendars include his birthday? Because do you think there's a trend going on of new stories about the author himself?
Yes. Yeah. Of course. Look at the new biopic with Nicholas Hoult is going to be coming out soon.
Really?
Yes.
Soon?
Yeah.
It's done?
We've gotten the materials have been sent in. They're finalizing the final print.
There's a feature film from the studio that did The Theory of Everything.
Isn't this Lionsgate?
Fox Searchlight.
It's Fox Searchlight. Excuse me. My
Fox
mistake. I'll never
Searchlight,
make that
a
mistake
Disney
again. It's Fox Searchlight.
company.
Yeah. Our whispers in the wind from Fox Searchlight is that final materials are coming in for the Tolkien biography film that will be like, The Theory of Everything was the biography of Professor Stephen Hawking. So this will be really interesting. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, good
So
day.
I-
Hello,
I-
Simon Jones. Good day from Australia.
So I think this year,
Nice
not
to
only
see
will
you.
we see the start of production on the Lord of the Rings series, I think we will have.
We're going to be shocked by
more-
casting announcements. They're going to blow our minds with that.
How did you feel about the Game of Thrones casting announcement today?
What Game of Thrones casting announcement
They announced
today?
the
Do tell. What
the-
did I miss?
the cast of the new Game of Thrones prequel series.
Oh, the new Game of Thrones prequel series cast came out.
Yes.
I didn't catch that
and
announcement.
It's full of unknowns. And I just, please, after the show.
Okay,
And if
that's
you guys
good.
are watching after the show, look up the new news of the Game of Thrones spin-off series. I don't know if it's prequel or sequel, but the spin-off series, the cast has been announced. It's full of unknowns. And I want to know how you feel about that, because I didn't recognize anybody,
I think it's great.
versus what Star Wars has done. And every casting announcement for the Star Wars TV series are these tentpole iconic stars. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see him in Star
dear.
Wars. So I'd love to, next week maybe, let's talk about what the feeling is between seeing the Star Wars TV series cast and the star power behind it, and the Game of Thrones spin-off cast, and how it's a bunch of relatively unknowns. So that's your homework, you viewers, live, is let's get a sense of how you guys feel and whether the Lord of the Rings producers should pursue some celebrity stunt casting, or let's keep it like it originally was, relatively unknowns. Even with The Hobbit, if you remember, the Hobbit cast was relatively unknown. I remember when we announced Benedict Cumberbatch,
Relative unknowns.
no one knew how to pronounce his name.
No, but people definitely knew who Evangeline Lilly was from Lost. People definitely
and Martin
knew
Freeman,
who Sylvester McCoy was.
and
yeah.
they knew Martin Freeman from Sherlock and things like that.
Well, Benedict Cumberbatch happened to share the screen with Martin Freeman, so they all knew who Benedict Cumberbatch
but
was.
he was relatively, when we announced it, he was still relative. It was the first season of Sherlock.
He was far away from being Doctor Strange at that point in time.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, let's just say that.
And the all-star cast of comedy dwarves
Okay,
and
now,
everything like that.
I tell you what, how do I feel about a cast of unknowns? I'm down for that, because that allows the characters to be filled out as characters, and these
On
actors,
the old Lord of the Rings calendar, hold on.
these actors get to
Jill
bring
Miller
something new.
says the old Lord of the Rings calendars, Tolkien's birthday was listed. What year and what calendar is that? Please tweet us a picture of that. I want to see it.
Our Twitter account is
Our-
the One Ring Net.
Our calendar company's getting lazy now?
Because I honestly, Jill, that'd be cool, but I don't remember Tolkien's birthday being in the old Lord of the Rings calendars, because usually it was, things like, Gandalf arrives in the Shire, or the date of Sam elected as mayor.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Tracy Walker says they almost couldn't get Martin Freeman because of his Sherlock schedule. Absolute true. This is
Yes.
why I'm hesitant into campaigning for anybody specifically for this Lord of the Rings series. The only mandatory that I feel like needs to happen is Ian McKellen as Gandalf. They need to move mountains, and whether that's
Yes.
mountains of money or mountains of travel, buy him a house wherever you shoot it. You need to
Yes.
make sure, Amazon, that Ian McKellen is Gandalf, always Gandalf, and nobody else is Gandalf.
I agree. I totally
That's
agree.
the only mandatory. Everyone else, we'll work with you. Let's see some castings.
Cheers, Barry. It's nice to see you, brother. By the way, you all are invited to come to my birthday on January 27th.
111th.
It's gonna be my 111th birthday. No, it's not gonna be that bad.
He's really gonna be that bad.
No, I won't. I promise you, I won't. Actually,
I'll be drinking black cherry like I am now.
anybody wants to come to Scum and Villainy Cantina on January 27th?
That's a Sunday.
This is Sunday, January 27th. In 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks, I'm going to be turning the big 5-0.
Wait, isn't
Boom!
How-
I'm actually turning 50. Do you believe it?
Wait, how old was Bilbo when he went on his adventure?
I don't know. I'd have to look that up.
50. How old was
50?
Frodo? How old
Yes,
was
that's right.
Frodo when he left on his adventure?
50? How about that?
So, might this party of special magnificence mean that you might be off on an adventure?
I might be, but it's going to be a fantastic year. And if you guys want to, it's a big party. Scum and Villainy Cantina is dedicated as my venue for my birthday. It's going to be a huge party. Karaoke, cosplay, so much chaos. It's going to be amazing. Y'all come down. You're all invited. You are all invited.
Am I invited?
Yep. You, and you, and you, and you, and you. You are all invited.
What about
you and all the Von Trapp children are all invited.
But what about the Sackville Bandiginses?
Even the Sackville Bagginses, even though I know they're going to steal my spoons. But yes, my birthday's coming up. Y'all are invited. Come to my birthday.
Yes.
And sing a song with me and karaoke night on my birthday. It'll be awesome.
Hey guys, speaking of birthdays.
And I agree with doing anything you can to get Ian McKellen. In fact,
yes.
Get Ian, film his scenes, get his stuff done first. If he's busy
No.
Film him and get the other stuff done later.
No,
Whatever you have to do, just
did you
film him.
not watch the appendices of The Hobbit? Ian McKellen broke down on set and cried because he wasn't performing with other actors. Do not shoot Ian McKellen first and everyone else second.
Okay, all right.
Do not do that. Do not listen to this man.
Okay, I'm just saying that, get Ian to do it. Ian, please.
It's
Please.
the first show of 2019,
Please.
and we have to acknowledge this is a big year not only for Cliff, turning the big 5-0, the same age Bilbo was when he went on his adventure to the Lonely
I
Mountain.
think it's funny.
But in 1999, the OneRing.net was registered.
No.
And the website was built up, and the forums were created, and the IRC channels were set up. This is our 20th anniversary as a little fan site. You guys are the ones that keep it going. We're an all-volunteer website.
Yes, we are.
No one's ever gotten paid in 20 years. We've
right.
had multiple volunteers, multiple groups of volunteers cycle in, cycle out as your life's commitments provide. Some people show up and volunteer their time writing articles or moderating the message boards, when they were in high school and college and had free time, and then they got married and had babies and didn't have any time at all.
Wasn't that?
And then
yes.
And then we had retirees come in and offer to help organize a lot of our events, and even people that are full-time jobs right now, and like Garfameo and Kathy and everybody else and Kirsten. There's so many people that keep this website going, but it's you, the community, that keep this show on the air.
Yes.
We just keep doing it. Scum and Villainy gives us this space for free, and we give this show to you for free because the fans
Yes.
are what made Tolkien. And someone on Twitter a few weeks ago said something interesting. She said, the OneRing.net was the first website that made news stories about fans in equal weight as news stories about the movies and books.
Indeed, that's true.
So we are all about all one community. And that's what Peter Jackson appreciates about this, that we are all the fans.
Yes.
That's why he brought his Oscars to our little fan party. He just wanted to be among us fans. So it's the 20th anniversary of the OneRing.net this year. We're looking to do some fun stuff. What do you guys want to do? How should we celebrate 20 years of a fan site?
For a 20-year anniversary.
I don't know what to do. Like, what should we do?
It's a community. I think we've properly identified the One Ring Net as the world's biggest web portal. And we are a web destination for a worldwide community of everyone who loves Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and the Silmarillion and all the world of Arda. So to find that we're still here after all this time, we've still found each other, we still embrace the original passion for Tolkien that we always have, to do something big and special on our 20th anniversary, I think we should do concurrent parties simulcast around the world, around the globe.
We
That
should
would be
all
fabulous.
toast each other and
Yes, we
toast
should all
the
toast
professor.
each other. We should have an organized toast and a special event for all the fans around the world, different cities and different countries, and it would be huge, and it would prove the interconnectedness of all of our fandoms, I think. What do you think?
I think so.
Multiple parties, multiple
Kaylin
cities.
Griffin says the best, most awesomest site on the whole entire night. Nice.
Thanks,
Thank
Pipsky.
you.
You're very
Thank
sweet.
you. That's very. You guys, some of you regulars have been part of the show for the 7 years we've been doing it. Over 350 episodes.
Hey, Shad.
It's been
Shad Damon wants us to
crazy.
do a TornCon. We've done the
We
One
did
Ring.
that. We've done that. We
We've
had
done-
our own convention for like 3 years.
We called it
Orc.
It was called the One.
One
It was called
Ring Celebration.
One Ring Celebration, ORC.
How many fan sites had their own convention
We've
that
done
we
that.
toured with?
Crazy.
We went to multiple cities.
I like the way you think,
Yeah.
Shad. I love
So-
it. So how about that? You know, somebody else was.
We did Celebration before Celebration.
We should.
Oh, no,
point-
it was after
Do you
Celebration.
know what?
I'll give you that.
Should we do like a big mega party, like the big Oscar parties we used to do?
Would you guys crowdfund? Do you guys want to throw a party? Like, we'll throw it on Indiegogo again. Like, we'll throw a party of special magnificence for no other reason than to party like hobbits.
We sure could. We sure could.
You guys want to do that again?
I'm
Well,
down.
I'm just throwing out ideas, but thank
I'm
you
down.
guys for
be
keeping
great.
the community up. We've got 100,000 followers on Twitter now. We've got over 50,000 on Instagram.
102,000, baby.
200 and some thousand on Facebook, and you guys just keep keep sharing the love and sharing the Lord of the Rings memes and all the fun stuff. It's so much fun. As a distraction from the real world sometimes, it's fun to just log on and see our Twitter feed of nothing but Tolkien fan sites and fandoms and Tolkien meme accounts. And it's an escape from
It's wonderful.
the toxic Twitter of the
Yes.
real world.
It is. Boy, we're such good-natured fans, aren't we?
fun.
Very good-natured fans about about all these things. We come together over our common love of literature. So we're like a pro-literacy group of people. We're like, not only are we like the most creative and fun to hang out with, but we're also like pro-food, pro-parties,
Pro-reading.
pro-literacy.
If you're an introvert that sits in the corner, that's fine. There will be a bunch of you.
Yeah.
Every party that we've done,
We're so
people find each other.
we're
Marriages have come out of this community.
Multiculturalism.
Children have come out of
Isn't
this
it funny that a stuffy Oxford Don, who is the whitest of white men, the most Roman Catholic of Roman Catholic white men, and he teaches us through the fellowship this amazing lesson about multiculturalism and power gained through, strength, diversification of people, and hope, and the power of loyalty and friendship and truth against all the things that would shut down the world with lies and darkness and imperialistic control and the absence of civil rights. You can't imagine the hobbits being scoured by Saruman and his evil ruffians and them polluting the rivers of the Shire and cutting down the trees. We can't imagine it. And we're in that book with those hobbits fighting against them and fighting against what is still green and good in this world. And there's still so much of it worth fighting for. So that energy, that great common denominator that we all share as Tolkien fans, I think is one of the great undercurrents that makes us a rather worthwhile group of people to hang out with on the internet. Don't you think?
And as a Star Wars
Don't you
fan
think?
and everything else, it is the least toxic fandom I've ever been a part of. So-
Hello, U.S. Mint, Texas. I was married as a result of the Two Towers party. Been married for 14 years.
14 years married
Yes.
because of one of our parties.
You met and got married at our Two Towers Oscar party. 14 years later, we are still to blame. Isn't that amazing?
You know what?
We are the fandom that comes together.
You know what would be the most amazing?
That's why Brian and Barry and everybody's in the chat room tonight. I love you guys.
If Amazon wanted to treat fans right, that we would have a party of special magnificence with all the fans
Yes.
on set the first day of shooting the new Lord of the Rings series.
That sounds cool.
If we can put it all together, Amazon, let take us all to the set.
If we do have a big party for the 20th anniversary of the OneRing.net, why don't we invite Peter and Fran and Philippa
And everybody.
invite all of our friends?
Well, and I will say this:
Billy,
out of all
Don,
the other,
Elijah,
you never had a
Pico,
Marvel movie or Star
Sean.
Wars movie put all the fans' names in the credits of the film. thank you, Warner Brothers, New Line Cinema, and Peter Jackson for rewarding the fans by putting our names in the credits. Like, the fans are actually in the credits of Lord of the Rings.
They are. How about that?
So we are a group of special magnificent. So 20 years with the OneRing.net starts now. Birthday month for this guy starts right now.
By rights, I shouldn't even be here, as Sam says.
All right, then
I should not have made it to 50. I really should not have. But I'm here, and it's a glorious living celebration to be part of this community with all of you guys, and to have made a little documentary film for you guys, and to tell the story about ringers and how popular culture always is like the breath and life and response to Tolkien's literary legacy. It's such a fascinating thing that we keep doing. I love it.
Sign off the show. I'm going to go behind the scenes.
All right. I have to sign off, but Shad, thank you. You can keep your fancy ales. You can drink them by the wagon, but the only brew for the brave and true comes from the Green Dragon. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I love that you guys are quoting Hobbit songs in the live chat. That's fantastic. So, again, you guys stick with us. 2019 will be the year of the most explosive news and revelations from Amazon Studios' new production of a Middle-earth-based 5-season epic series. Get your Amazon Prime account ready to go, at least so you can watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, because it's awesome. And come to my birthday, January 27th, right here at Scum and Villainy at the corner of Hollywood Boulevard and Cahuenga. What's our address here, folks? 6377 Hollywood Boulevard, right outside the gate from the subway station, right there at Hollywood and Vine. You guys are awesome. Follow us on Twitter, Periscope, Instagram, Facebook, and all of the social media. On Twitch, find us at The One Ring Net. On YouTube, it's The One Ring, spelled with an Arabic numeral 1. It's weird, but it is The One Ring Net on YouTube. And you can find me, QuickBeam2000, on Instagram and Twitter. I love you guys. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, good night. And to you and all the Von Trapp children, good night. Happy New Year.